What if the most powerful thing a stranger could give you wasn't money? Wasn't advice, but a simple hug? Every day across America, complete strangers stand on busy streets holding signs that read just two words: free hugs. Most people walk past, some laugh, some hesitate, but then someone stops. And in just a few seconds, two lives can change forever. Long before millions of people embraced strangers on city streets, there was just one man, standing alone. In 2004, a man known as Wan Man returned to Sydney, Australia after a difficult period in his life. Feeling isolated and invisible, he arrived at a busy city square carrying nothing but a handmade sign that read, "Free hugs." People stared, some laughed, others thought he was crazy. Minutes passed without anyone stopping. Then, one woman approached. She had just lost her dog and said she needed a hug more than anything. That single embrace lasted only a few seconds, but it changed both of their lives. Word began to spread. More strangers stepped forward. Smiles replaced suspicion. Soon, what started as one lonely act of kindness grew into something much bigger than anyone could have imagined. Years later, the idea crossed oceans and reached America, where thousands would continue the tradition in parks, campuses, festivals, and busy city streets. Sometimes, history doesn't begin with a speech or a revolution. Sometimes, it begins with one person choosing kindness. By the late 2000s, the free hugs movement had crossed the Pacific and found a new home in America. From the bright lights of New York City's Times Square to the sunny beaches of California, ordinary people began carrying simple cardboard signs with an extraordinary message. At first, many Americans reacted with caution. Some walked by without making eye contact. Others smiled politely but kept moving. In a world where strangers rarely interact, accepting a hug from someone you've never met felt unusual, even risky. But then something remarkable happened. One brave person stopped, then another. Soon, laughter echoed through busy streets as complete strangers embraced, proving that kindness could break down walls faster than fear could build them. College students organized free hugs events during stressful exam weeks. Families offered hugs at community festivals. Veterans hugged civilians. Children hugged grandparents. People from every background discovered that a few seconds of genuine human connection could brighten an entire day. Without advertisements, without sponsors, and without expecting anything in return, a simple act of compassion became one of America's most recognizable symbols of kindness. What happens inside your body during a hug? It may seem like a simple gesture, but beneath the surface, your brain is launching a remarkable chain reaction. The moment two people share a genuine hug, the brain begins releasing oxytocin, often called the love hormone, or the bonding chemical. This powerful hormone helps create feelings of trust, safety, and emotional connection. At the same time, levels of cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, can decrease, allowing your mind and body to relax. Your heart rate begins to slow. Muscles loosen, breathing becomes steadier. Even a hug lasting just a few seconds can make someone feel calmer, more supported, and less alone. Scientists have also found that positive physical touch may improve mood, strengthen relationships, and even support the immune system over time. That's one reason hospitals, therapists, and caregivers often recognize the importance of compassionate human contact. Of course, not everyone is comfortable with hugs, and that's okay. The free hugs movement has always emphasized one simple rule: every hug must be welcomed, never expected. Respect and consent come first. In a world increasingly connected by screens, perhaps the most meaningful connection is still the oldest one of all: human touch. Behind every free hug sign, there's a story. And behind every hug, there's often one that was never spoken. On a cold afternoon in New York City, a young college student wandered through Times Square after failing an important exam. Overwhelmed with disappointment, they noticed someone holding a simple cardboard sign that read, "Free hugs." After a moment of hesitation, they stepped forward. What lasted less than 10 seconds became the first genuine smile they'd shared in days. In Chicago, a military veteran attending a community event quietly accepted a hug from a volunteer. Afterward, he admitted that it was the first embrace he'd received from a stranger since returning home years earlier. Sometimes, healing begins with words. Other times, it begins with silence. At a local park in California, an elderly widow celebrating what would have been her wedding anniversary walked alone through the crowd. A volunteer offered a hug. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "I needed that more than you know." These moments rarely make the evening news. There are no headlines, no awards, and no cameras capturing every story. But for the people living them, those few seconds of compassion become unforgettable. The true power of the free hugs movement isn't measured by how many hugs are given, but by how deeply one simple act of kindness can remind someone that they're not alone. For years, the free hugs movement lived quietly on sidewalks and city streets. A few cardboard signs, a few strangers, and a few unforgettable moments. But then, the internet changed everything. In 2006, a simple video showing strangers embracing in the streets captured millions of hearts around the world. Viewers watched people arrive with doubt and leave with smiles. The video spread faster than anyone expected, proving that kindness could be just as contagious as fear. Across America, people were inspired to create their own free hugs events. Videos began appearing from New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle, and hundreds of smaller towns. Students, families, veterans, and complete strangers all stepped into public squares carrying the same simple message. Social media transformed the local act of compassion into a worldwide symbol of hope. Every share, every comment, and every new video encouraged someone else to step outside with a cardboard sign and offer kindness to the next stranger who needed it. In a digital world often filled with arguments and negativity, millions of people paused to watch something refreshingly different. No special effects, no expensive production, just ordinary people reminding each other that compassion still exists. Sometimes, the most powerful thing to go viral isn't outrage, it's humanity. When people see a free hugs sign, they often focus on the hug itself. But behind every sign is a volunteer with a story of their own. Some volunteers lost loved ones and wanted to honor their memory by spreading kindness. Others battled anxiety, depression, or loneliness and discovered that helping strangers also helped them heal. Many simply believed the world needed a little more compassion. Standing on a busy sidewalk isn't always easy. Hours can pass with people avoiding eye contact. Some laugh, some make jokes, others question their intentions. But the volunteers stay, smiling patiently, waiting for the next person who might need a hug more than they realize. Then it happens. A stressed nurse finishes a long hospital shift. A father carrying the weight of life's responsibilities stops for a moment. A teenager feeling invisible all day finally smiles. For the volunteers, these aren't just random encounters, they're reminders that even the smallest act of kindness can leave a lasting mark. Many say they receive just as much as they give. Every hug becomes a shared moment, a silent reminder that compassion doesn't belong to one person. It belongs to everyone willing to share it. The signs may be made of cardboard, but the impact they leave behind can last a lifetime. Can one hug really change the world? At first, the idea sounds almost impossible. After all, a hug doesn't end wars. It doesn't erase poverty. It doesn't solve every problem people face. And yet, history has shown that the biggest changes often begin with the smallest actions. Not everyone supports the free hugs movement. Some people feel uncomfortable hugging strangers. Others worry about personal boundaries or safety. Those concerns are real, and they're important. That's why responsible free hugs volunteers have always followed one simple principle: every hug must be freely chosen. No pressure, no expectations, just respect. For those who choose to participate, the experience can become something unforgettable. A stranger who felt invisible is suddenly seen. Someone carrying silent grief feels comfort, if only for a moment. A child witnesses kindness between complete strangers and learns that compassion still exists in the world. Perhaps that's the real purpose of the movement. It's never been about the hug itself. It's about reminding us that behind every face in a crowd is a human being, someone fighting battles we may never see. Maybe changing the world doesn't always happen through one giant moment. Maybe it happens one person, one smile, and one hug at a time. More than 2 decades after one lonely man held up a homemade sign, the message still lives on. Across the United States, free hugs events continue to appear in city parks, college campuses, charity walks, mental health awareness campaigns, and neighborhood festivals. They aren't organized by celebrities or billion-dollar companies. They're led by ordinary people who believe that kindness should never go out of style. The world has changed dramatically. We've become more connected through technology than ever before, yet millions of people still struggle with loneliness. Messages travel across the globe in seconds, but genuine human connection has become increasingly rare. Perhaps that's why the free hugs movement continues to resonate. It reminds us that no app, no text message, and no social media post can completely replace the warmth of real human compassion. Every volunteer who picks up a cardboard sign sends the same silent message: you matter. You're seen, you're not alone. The movement has never promised to solve every problem. Instead, it offers something much simpler, a brief moment of hope. And sometimes, hope is exactly what someone needs to keep moving forward. Long after the signs are packed away and the crowds disappear, the memory of one unexpected hug can remain in someone's heart for years. Because in the end, kindness is never wasted. Every day, we pass hundreds of strangers. Some are celebrating the happiest day of their lives. Others are carrying heartbreak, anxiety, grief, or loneliness that no one else can see. The truth is, we rarely know what someone is going through. The Free Hugs movement was never about changing the entire world overnight. It was about changing one person's world, one moment at a time. A single hug can't erase pain. It can't undo loss. It can't solve every problem. But it can remind someone that they matter, that they are seen, and that kindness still exists. Perhaps that's why this simple movement has survived for more than 20 years. Not because of cardboard signs or viral videos, but because every generation needs the same thing: human connection. In a world filled with endless notifications, constant distractions, and growing distance between people, maybe the greatest act of kindness is simply being present for another human being. Whether it's a hug, a smile, a helping hand, or a few kind words, every act of compassion creates a ripple. And that ripple reaches farther than we may ever know. So the next time you see someone holding a sign that says, "Free Hugs," remember, they're not asking for anything. They're offering hope, because sometimes, the strongest hearts are the ones open enough to embrace a complete stranger. And maybe, just maybe, that's how a better world begins. One hug, one person, one moment, at a time.
If this story reminded you of the power of kindness, share it with someone who could use a little hope today. Because you never know, one small act of compassion could become someone else's reason to keep believing. Thank you for watching. This is Story Pulse, where every story leaves a heartbeat.